It is the last 90 days, and selling to the government's just like this, right, Jamie? You just get on the sliding board and slide right in because you have a GSA schedule, right?
Right, you show up in the lobby, and then your fax machine just starts rolling off orders.
Fax machine, man, you're living in. That's exactly right. Actually, it actually looks like this, doesn't it, Raphael?
Yeah, with the and actually the rock is tilted a little bit over the person.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what it looks like. All right, real quick. I'm Dave Lowe. I'm the CEO of ISI Federal. We are here just outside of DC. We're doing our best to make federal contracting manageable, profitable, and consistent. A little bit of our history here. We got into this about 10 years ago. Coming up in November will be our 10-year anniversary. We've got over $425 million in direct and indirect federal sales. We have unmatched intelligence with 62 million plus federal contracts, 1.2 million federal contacts, and 3.1 million vendor contacts. So we use this intelligence to get us smarter about the marketplace so we know what we're doing in our professional business development. And that's what we're all about, getting out in front of those key decision makers and giving you access to them before it's too late. And we'll be talking about that a lot today. We do have on the right-hand side, you can see Market Essentials, Gov Contacts, Gov Brief, Quick Fuse, and GSA Direct are some of the tools that we use. And one of those we'll review today a little bit, not too much, but we create with Gov Brief, we get you to be the expert. We research the initiatives so you can attach your offerings with those, and we help you drive that message home so you get remembered before the end of the year. GovContacts.us is where you can get NAICS reports, custom NAICS reports. You can find anything you want out about your competitors and their contacts and who are they selling to in the federal space. Quick Fuse, as I mentioned, if you have a GSA schedule. If you don't have a GSA schedule, talk to Jamie. But if you do have a GSA schedule, you can sign up for Quick Fuse today. And guess what? If you do it before the 15th, you get 30 days for free. If you don't do it before the 15th, you only get 3 days for free because we're getting in the busy season. And if you stay with it for a year, we will guarantee that you will get 500% more that you sell than you paid for Quick Fuse, or it will be free. My favorite 4-letter word is free. And with us, we have Rafael Marrero out of Miami, Florida. And you are responsible for, what are you responsible for down there?
We do all beautiful things related to socioeconomic certifications, such as 8A, HubZone, Service Disabled Veteran, DOT, MBE, and DBE certifications. We help companies get their ducks in a row and get ready for government contracting.
As you do. And we're going to be talking a little bit about that today because there's a lot of things that you can do right now to be able to get that happening. And you also are some kind of author or something. You wrote something.
Yeah, I wrote the first ever government contracting book aimed at the Hispanic community initially. But it's called Uncle Sam's Secret Sauce, La Salsa Secreta del Tío Sam. And it's gotten a lot of praise in the media. We've been on a national book tour. We've recently been back from Philadelphia, and we're on our way to
Tell us about
Massachusetts. It's great. We were honored and blessed with being the keynote speaker at the Closing the Gap Supplier Diversity Business Expo, sponsored by the Greater Philadelphia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and 2 large companies, among them Coca-Cola and Aramark were the title sponsors, and we were blessed to have been invited to keynote for that event. And what a fun event! I mean, I had such a great sidekick.
You rocked it, dude.
What a great sidekick!
Yeah, I was. What do you? Oh, this was pretty funny because he would toss things back out to me. I'm sitting in the front row, and he tossed things out to me. And so I've always been the token gringo at these events. First of all. But
There's
at this
one.
one, I was the gringo Alexa. Everybody there thinks my name is Alexa because of you. It was great. You did great. If you haven't seen Raphael in person, got to do it. And we're doing something together at the end of September, believe it or not, right?
Yes, we're actually on a tour. We're going to have an event, a big event at the National Convention of the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Yep. Which is the single most important business expo for the entire national Hispanic community. It represents 4.3 million businesses that contribute about $700 billion to the U.S. economy. And we are prime time listed at the #1 spot just before prime time, the first day of the event, right before the Supplier Diversity Business Luncheon. We're on. So we're going to be speaking there in New Mexico.
In New Mexico, exactly. So if you can join us there. Jamie Zell out of Dayton, Ohio. What's things like out there, brother?
Things are great. It's summertime. The weather's starting to pick up the temperature. It's good to be out doing just about anything. Things are really good over here in Dayton and Springfield.
Yeah, man. And you do GSA schedule development. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. But tell us a little bit about what they can do right now. Well, yeah, tell us right now what they can be doing for being prepared for this fiscal year end.
Well, as far as fiscal year end goes, we always see last minute opportunities come up, and there's people that all the time back themselves into an opportunity. They find out it's a GSA based opportunity and they don't have their schedule. A lot of times there's not enough time to get them a schedule in time. We still have a time window to work with depending on which schedule you're going after. But sooner or later, those opportunities are gonna run into GSA if you're out there selling to the federal government. So
Absolutely.
as part of your long-term planning, we always recommend get your schedule in place. That way you'll have it. And when you get asked that important question, do you have your GSA schedule? You can say yes and proceed forward and be able to get the sales that you would otherwise be missing. Because if you don't have a GSA schedule, there's no way to come in the side door and fake that. I mean, if it's a GSA opportunity, you either have it or you don't. And as a company, that's exactly what our specialty is. We've been doing it now for 17 years. We guarantee the schedule award, and we've never missed. Also very affordable.
Love it. And they can do some updates to their pricing. Should certainly be visiting that if they do have a GSA schedule, right?
Absolutely. They call it economic price adjustments, or EPAs. So if you've got a schedule out there and you've not made price changes or actually looked into that in a while, you might want to check out your schedule, where your pricing's at compared to your cost, and also look at what your lineup is actually on the schedule. A lot of people are surprised that, especially in product schedules, that things are long since not being used anymore, but still hanging on the schedule, the one thing they didn't shore up. So it's important that your schedule is current and correct, and we can help you with the schedule revisions as well to make sure that you lead with your best foot forward and look very impressive when you get in front of those federal buyers.
Absolutely, and I agree. And you do have 100% track record, so that's awesome. So with us, we have by phone Greg Clark, and you're down there in Southern Florida too in the heat.
Yes, sir. West Palm Beach.
West Palm Beach.
Nice and toasty.
That's right, always. So we'll be talking a little bit later about what you can do in the last 60 days here, or the next 60 days. We're in the last 90 days right now, but in the last 60 days to get ready. So I'll reach out to you, but I know you guys do proposal writing, and you always have your crazy $1 billion number that you throw out to me to make me look bad for my business development. Go ahead.
Next month will be our 24th anniversary of doing this, and what this is helping companies put their proposals together to bid on federal contracts, primarily federal, state, municipal as well. But that's what we've been doing every day for 24 years, is helping companies increase their chances of winning contracts that they're competing for. We're up to 346 contracts we've helped our clients win, and the combined value last year went over $1.6 billion. But I have a request from you and your audience today. I need an SDVO, Service Disabled Veteran-Owned Small Business, that is in the facility support industry. There is a contract out to operate a commissary, and by operating the commissary, it's shelf stocking, cleaning the floors, low level basic services, running the warehouse. And we've won 43 of these. They're all 5-year contracts, but I don't have an SDVO client with his capabilities who goes into the Northeast. The SDVOs that I have are West Coast.
All right.
So I need somebody to work with to win number 44 of this. It's going to be about a $700,000 a year contract, and it's for 5 years.
You will have that by the end of the day there, my brother. So that's for sure. I know a few. Well, that's great. I don't know who else is here. Let me see something real quick. Is Peter Timbus here today? I don't see Peter, but I will give him a shout out. Let me just do this real quick. Peter Timbus, if you need funding for a contract, so you win a contract and you have to fund it, because guess what? It costs you're going to need some cash flow, right, Raphael?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And Peter Timbus does a great job. We've worked together. You worked on a project with him, and If it can be done, he can do it. So reach out to Peter if you have a contract or you need funding. He can do funding as well. Liz DeRosa with PubK. I don't think Liz is here either, but if you need, this is really a cool system. It's pubklaw.com. You can check them out for compliance, cyber, and legal work. I don't think Kyle's here either, so I have to smack them down next time they come, every one of them. But if you need funding as well, BetterFin, they help everybody from startups all the way through larger funding, and they specialize in SBA loans, so they can help you out if you need funding. Reach out to Kyle at BetterFin. She is awesome. A little bit about this webinar. We do this every second Tuesday at 11 a.m. and we do this dialogue, and when we are semi-high on oxycodone like I am right now, it just is the way it is. But we get real about how things work with winning strategies. We show off a little bit. We'll show off what Raphael does and Jamie, as well as Greg and ISI Federal. So what we do have here is I have a poll that I want to ask you guys is, why are you here today? Let's see if this all works and it doesn't lock everything up like it's done before. Are you new to the federal space and looking for information? Have you already won federal business and you want to grow? Do you need, and you pick as many as you want. I need help finding buyers to purchase products and services. I need help marketing my company to the federal government, or some nut sent me an email. And I love the fact that at least a third of the people said that some nut had sent them an email, which is probably true, especially today, I will say. The nut is definitely on the edge of all craziness. So, all right, we'll give you another 5, 4, 3. You can do it. I promise. It's not painful. 3, 2, 1, and you can do it. Come on. You can do it. One more, maybe. All right. There you go. So this is what it looks like, folks. What nobody here is new. That's beautiful, right? That's
20%.
great.
That
is great.
Email.
That is great. And somebody is asking questions. Not able to unmute. Oh, Kyle. Hang on a second. Let me find out where Kyle is. Kyle is here, but she came in some other way. Where are you, Kyle? If you called in on the phone, hit the pound button, and I should be able to unmute you. I think. I'm not sure, but Kyle is here, so I didn't have to smack her down. I don't have to smack her down. So real quick, we'll talk about the briefing controls. We'll talk about the last 90 days, which we are in. What you can do today to get to decision makers now. Quick disclaimer, this is not affiliated or endorsed by GSA or any other agency. It's provided to you, the audience, for our informational purposes only. And if we do have anybody from the government who wants to participate, I have no idea who is here for the government. But if they do participate, it's voluntary. It's not a commitment to buy from anybody here. How about that? And real quick, if you would like to see the grand new office that Rafael Marrero has that he's sitting in, he's got his new office down there in Miami. You can make it larger by dragging, maybe on the bottom, maybe on the top or the side, but you drag this little bar, you can make it larger. And yes, that is a signed 24 poster by Jack Bauer. Somebody called me out on that the other day. This is the stuff that's behind me now is much more patriotic, although you can't find much more patriotic than Jack Bauer, I think. So you can open the panel on the right-hand side, and there are handouts there. There are a few in there that we will be reviewing today, including the winnable opportunity matrix. If you have any questions, you can text them in, just like Kyle did, that said she could not unmute. And if you did dial in on the phone, make sure you hit whatever number it says there, pound that number, and pound, we can unmute you. And I already did this disclaimer. We are in the last 90 days, as I mentioned, 222 billion. What is that? Billion, right, Raphael? Billion.
Really?
Billion.
Billones.
That's right. So, and guess what? If you're just getting here, you're 9.5 months behind your competition at least. So that's just to make you feel better. So if you take a look at your winnable opportunities, you can download that and you can take a look. But first, we have to adjust our mindset from opportunity to chasing people. You can chase opportunities all you want, but by the time they hit FBO, most of the time they're too late. So opportunities come from people, and winnable opportunities come from people who know, like, and trust us. Am I right, Jamie Zell?
Absolutely. That's exactly where it comes from.
And what we want to do, if you look at the winnable opportunity matrix, we want to get ahead of these folks. We want to get ahead of these opportunities. So we want to know 60 days in advance. Well, guess what? 60 days in advance is mid-September. So we're coming to a place now that you're really getting to not be able to know a whole lot of it in advance. So you just got to get out there and make sure they know about you, and make sure that it's in your sweet spot, and make sure that you get the opportunity to push that information to effectively influence what he's legitimately, right, Raphael? You can't buy them like round trip tickets to Paris or anything, right?
No, or invite them to the Super Bowl or to the women's soccer championship.
That's right.
Yeah.
You cannot do any of those things, but you can ethically influence, can you not?
That's right.
Absolutely. That's what we're after. And we also want to minimize the competition and drive that turnaround to shorter timelines. And that's what gets you into the green. And shorter timelines in September can be as short as 1 day. We had this happen years ago. Department of State came out on a Sunday at 11 a.m. and that was September 28th. And guess what happened? It was due Monday, September 29th at 11 a.m. And had you not known about it, you probably wouldn't have seen it. And that was a $275,000 opportunity. Boom. Just like that. The biggest thing is we have to get to the decision makers that have budget. And real quick to tell you about these folks, this is a real quick review because we're going to be talking about how we're reaching people. So we need to know who we're reaching, right? So every one of these people have different roles, needs, and buying motives. And if you talk about your contracting officers, they're responsible for executing the contract. You need to make sure you have a clear, concise capability statement. And we'll be talking about both of these things, the top two things, and make sure your SAM record is up to date. How important is that, Raphael?
It's very important because without an active and accurate SAM registration, you will not be contacted.
That's a fact. And when they do find you and they find out you're not active, out of the pool.
You go to the next person.
Other thing is you want to make sure you're finding out about, when you're talking to these folks, find out what their preferred contract vehicle. Like you said, Jamie, a lot of folks decide to buy off a GSA schedule, and they may also buy off a NASA SEWP, SEWP, 8A stars. There's various IDIQs and BPAs that are out there that they may be mandated to do. But the other thing we like to do is pre-fill out the standard forms, the 1449. The idea is, hey, let's give it to them the way they want to see it. And then they just have to copy and paste what they want. And you'd be amazed at how many times they actually do that. So program managers and project managers and coordinators, these are the people that are responsible for getting the job done. And if you think, and you can talk about this in a minute, Raphael, the importance of resonating with both the program people and the contracting people with your capability statement. But you want to help them with the requirements. But before you do that, you better know what they do and know what they need, and then give them best practices for what is happening right now out in the marketplace, because the government is not exactly cutting edge. So they want to know, in some instances, what is the latest thing. So innovative solutions and successes in similar situations, even if it's not quite government, we are seeing a lot more business acceptable type of integration now with the current administration is much more business-like the way that they operate. I'm not endorsing or saying that anything is good or bad. I'm just telling you the way it is. Right now, ROI is an important thing. So make sure that you give them successes that work really well in the market. The other thing is you want to help them look good. Talk them up to their bosses. Show them that you can finish strong. These are the people that really want to get the job done right. And your technical representative actually reports to the guy we just talked about, the program manager and project manager. And you want to help them with the technical requirements, government standards. If you have similar purchases that have happened in the past, make sure you're connecting those. Certifications, very important for certifications. I'm not talking about your 8A certifications like Raphael's talking about. I'm talking about ISO 9000 and PMMI or CM. Yeah, PMMI, right? Is that right?
CMMI. Capabilities, maturities,
PMI.
Model. Yeah,
CMMI, PMI.
And PMP, or which is the project
PMP.
management professional.
Oxycodone. Just saying.
That's Batman, by the way.
That's right. And all I know is we've never been seen in the same place. same time. Just saying. All right. We assist the mandatory requirement. So these guys help to pull together the requirements and do the nuts and bolts and kind of bridge the gap between the contracting officer. So you want to talk them up to the PM. Again, that's a personal thing, right? The other one was valuing them and things. You want to talk them up to PM and be the go-to knowledge resource for them. Make sure you set yourself up as a subject matter expert in your field. Doesn't matter what you do, that you want to be the subject matter expert. Then you have the administrators. These are the folks that have the political cover. They're running the organization's directors, SES is Senior Executive Services. These are the folks that you want to get to that are higher up. If you're doing a top-down sale, still works here. You can do that. But these are the folks that are driving the initiatives down and policies, and they're dealing with large programs. So if you're selling an enterprise type program, you're probably going to be involved with the administrator. However, most of us as small businesses are not going to compete with a $100 million contract with Deloitte. We're just not going to do it, right? So the idea is we want them to know who we are so that we can work throughout the food chain. Works really well. If you need to meet some other senior program managers, works really well. Selling, the way you sell to them, ego. It's a really good sell. Just butter them up a little bit and ask them for what you need, which is political cover. Say, hey, let them know I'm one of the good guys. So a couple of notches down. In the GS 15, 14, 13 territory, which is where we're going to spend most of our time. That's the folks that you want. You want to help them look good. And most importantly, what is that, Rafael?
Keep them off of Telemundo.
That's right. Publicity is generally not a good thing for these folks. No. So what we want to do, and we want to help them look good. If we can help them look good in the public eye, that's even better. So in order to do this, if you're talking about a total strategy of understanding this winnable opportunity matrix as it applies to your company, we can do a strategy session, and Rafael and I are starting to ramp these up where we're doing these together. So if you would like to do a strategy session, let us know. It's a minimal investment for that. We can do a preliminary market essentials report so that you can see how it's operating. If you need help with this, let us know. We would love to do this. If you need help with a strategy session, let us know. And I'll give you another 5 for 100% are saying online next week. So we will figure that out as long as I get my tooth operated on. 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we're going to get to some success stories now. And those success stories, I'm going to start with you, Rafael, because you have a great success story that you shared up in Philadelphia with Andy Garcia.
We call him Randy Garcia. He's Randy Garcia's Andy Garcia's twin brother. Actually, his name is Abel Herrera, and he's a great young man from South Florida. He heads up an IT consulting company, specializes in data analytics and business intelligence, which is a very important field right now in government contracting and in the private sector. So his firm's been around. He established in 2005, Hispanic-owned small business, great customer relationships, very talented, hardworking individual, both 8A and MB certified as a firm. And then he came to us in February of 2018. Now, when he came to us, he was not procurement ready. He wasn't ready. He was not contract ready at all. So I said, look, we're gonna go to Washington in 3 weeks. We're gonna need to get you into a business suit in front of a photographer. We need some appropriate business cards and a strong capability statement, because we're gonna work Capitol Hill and we're gonna go knock on some doors. So he joined the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, became part of the HPE program, which is a business development program for small businesses in the chamber. And then he attended 2 events, the legislative summit in DC when you and I met, Dave, and then he went to the annual convention that you attended in Philadelphia. As a result of our participation.
And by the way, he was a hot mess.
Yes, he was a hot mess.
He was dressed up nice, but he was a hot mess.
Well, you know, he was wet behind the ears.
Yeah, he was, but it was great. You handheld him through the whole thing. It was awesome to see.
So we took him and we refocused his mission, right? We said, look, this is the way we need to do things, right? First and foremost, we found that his business cards were not right. His capability statement was a mess. And it had been done by a P-Tech, by the way, but it just wasn't attractive. It was all over the place. And we refocused all of his marketing materials and his approach, his business acumen. And then as a result of that, we established a great relationship with the Federal Reserve Board as a result of his relationship.
Hold on a second. Well, what is happening here, Jake? Oh my gosh, I have no idea what just happened.
You've just been hacked, right?
Something is touching something. Hang on.
Yep.
It was like the reverse button because you backed yourself all the way back up to the first slide.
I did. And it's still reversing. Oh, there we go. Nope. Wow, this is crazy. Let's see if it's working now. It's not working.
I think I hear Comrade Putin in the background.
It is kind of. You keep talking. I'll figure this out.
No worries. So the net is with Able, we were able to with Able.
You're able to help Able.
Right here. Right. That's right. So we were able to win our first multi-year government contract in the first 12 months as a result of like steady contact with the right people at the Federal Reserve Board. We were able to sell his value proposition, and we were able to get to the key decision makers and help them understand what Able was able to provide.
What Able was able.
Right, to provide.
And here we go. Now I got you back to the slide.
Right. So we won the first major multi-year federal contract in less than a year. That was in January 2019. We developed and cultivated extensive relationships with the Federal Reserve Board, the U.S. Navy, and others. So right now he's on 2 IDIQs, and we rebranded his website, his business cards, capability statements. We have some very attractive and informative roll-up banners and great photographs that you see there. So we developed the correct approach for federal government marketing and cultivating relationships.
And the beauty is, when you met the people there, they were all the contracting officers, right? Everything you did was to resonate with the contracting officers.
Yeah. So here's what makes us different, Dave. I mean, we've sat on the other side of the table, right? We're former procurement executives ourselves. We understand and heads of Fortune 500 vendor management firms. So I've been on the other side of the table where I've been selecting vendors to provide goods and services, and I know what to look for. So what I do is I coach our clients the correct way and say, hey, this is what you need to do in order for you to be attractive and really point out the value prop here. Because many times people are not doing a good job of selling themselves in the correct way.
And you made it easy for him. You got his 8A certification and all of his capabilities. Everything looked clean, as you mentioned earlier.
Very professional.
That's very important. If you have any success stories of your own, open up the side. We like to hear from you because, hey, that's why we're here too. It's not just our show. We love to hear what you have to do. We'll talk about some of our stuff too. But if you have any success stories and being able to get to the government, we'd love that. So I'm going to talk about a success story in a minute. But first of all, I want to know, how much is one federal relationship, not just a sale. You can choose. I think this is choose only one. But if you take a look at this, what is one federal relationship worth? Is it smaller? Is it 5 to 10 grand? Is it 10 to 50? Is it 50 to 100? Is it 100 to 500 or over 500,000? I'm going to give you 2 examples in just a minute of ones that you can find that's very normal of how we've helped people. So we'll give you 2 examples in just a minute. So let me know. Almost everybody is saying it's over $500,000, my kind of people, right, Raphael?
That's right.
Absolutely. So with that, we're going to give you another 5, 4, you can do it, 3, 2, 1, and boom. So here we go. We have 25% is 100 to 500,000, 75% is over 500,000. So let's talk about this. Last year, it was 2018. These folks came and did one of these sessions, and they did a Market Essentials Plus Blitz, and we actually didn't even get them into the market until August. It was crazy. but we looked at 18 months of training data. We identified a $9.8 billion market with 12,569 buyers with 94 primary competitors. And I'll show you what that looks like. This is what Market Essentials looks like. And if we zoom in a little bit, you'll see it's $9.8 billion market is this market right here, which is their main training, right? This is computer training, which is 344 million, but this is 9.8 million for regular training. And we also looked at feeders like management consulting and Schedule 70 and HR. These are all areas that we can that require training, right? So we looked at these, and one relationship was worth $168,000, give or take, and or more, obviously. But if you take a look at what we did here, this is a highly capable company, and we did this. We sent out personal introductions to 532 of the top 2 at each location. What we do is we distill this information and we hit the top 2 at each location. We followed up with personal phone calls. We had 87 responses, 21 phone meetings, 12,037 capability statements sent, and over $120,000 in sales. That was by fiscal year end last year. So that is exactly how that works. That's a training organization. And if we take a look at another organization that we did some work with, this was a 120-day plan, 180-day plan, and they're a highly capable firm. Again, Raphael, we have a whole bunch of people that are capable, right?
Yes, but
Yeah.
that will not suffice. Just
That
having the
doesn't suffice.
capability will not suffice.
You gotta go out and get them. So they got their GSA schedule in 2017, took over a year, and their GSA sales were 0. What happens if you have 0 sales, Jamie Zell?
Well, you can't continue to have zeros. They expect you to sell 25,000 in the first 2 years of having your schedule with it brand new. After that, at least 25,000 or more per year after that. If you don't hit that mark, and most people that are actively working it, that's a small number to them. I just want to put a barometer on that. But if you're not hitting that mark, first they'll start with hate mail and angry letters, and they're telling you got to get your sales up. You got to apply this. They have dedicated resources to bring you into the world of GSA, and they expect you to work that system and to go get your piece of the pie. So eventually, what will happen is if you don't get your GSA sales up, they'll send you a cancellation letter, and eventually we'll tank your schedule. Then you have to wait and go back and start all over again if you want your GSA schedule. So it's important to work it.
How long do you have to wait? You can't just get it next week, right?
I believe it's 2-year wait on most of the schedules.
Mm-hmm. And it already takes forever to get it. It's not like it happens.
The forever cycle's been changing. We've had some that have stretched out and have taken way too long. Although I will say, as an entity, watching them and working with them from the inside, they have really seemed to get themselves caught up. We've actually done many 70s recently that we've knocked these things out with the Fastlane program. Probably one of our shorter ones was just under 90 days. And we had a client that worked with us. We got things wrapped right away off the GSA, and they also had opportunities because they've been working the system and had found some pre-plumbed opportunities. So we were able to use that to help push the contracting officer to get the award done, and we've been turning some of them pretty quickly.
Excellent. That's great news. So, well, they did attend, Hanscom attended this, saving your GSA from cancellation, and we got together and we created a 180-day plan. Look familiar? This is Market Essentials all over again. So what we did is we did the report, and this was 2 years plus the current year because we wanted to expand it a little bit because it was construction. But if you take a look, we looked right in their GSA schedule wheelhouse, but we also looked at the feeders. Again, you mentioned this, Greg. You said facilities. We looked at facilities as well because, hey, if you're involved in any type of construction or auditing for construction services, that's what these guys do. And that's what we looked at. We found it was a $70 billion market plus that was just the GSA schedule holders, by the way. That's crazy, right? That's crazy. So we had 409 competitors that we found, and we did a deep dive into each one of those. But this is the critical one. How about this? 76% had less than 5 competitors. That's in the construction world, guys. That means that they already have an idea of who they want. Right, Raphael?
Absolutely. We all have biases.
We have biases, and we want the job done right. If we already know there's 4 or 5 people that can do it, you want to be one of those 4 or 5. So what we did is we went after the 6,189 buyers. We know that their average contract value is $587. That's $500,000 plus is how much the one relationship is worth. So we did the plan and we did briefings in this instance. We went to market with, we went out with 6,189 invites. We also targeted the top 250, 1,718 clicks with 189 responses. This is brand building, wouldn't you say, Rafael?
Very effective.
Yep, very effective. So what we did is we made them the subject matter expert. They educated the customer. They had best practices. They connected with those folks. And here is one of the responses. Hey, Dave, I got a call from DOL right after the briefing they attended to see how they get us from claims work. Very exciting. And guess what? They spoke to the PM and the COTAR. Look at your winnable opportunity matrix. Those two of the people that you need to get to, driving them into the green. That's our job. That's your job. You have to do it. And with that, we also know way ahead of advance, because it's not even out on the street yet, that they have something that's happening, and they're minimizing the number of people they're going out to, which I call this a success. And it's also repeatable success. So this is what we do if we're doing 180 days. Right now, you can't even do briefings because we don't have enough time to get out in front of those folks. The last briefing that we're doing is August 15th. So we don't have time to do that. But what you can do is you can do the introductory campaigns and the research to get out in front of those folks. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But let's talk about you, Rafael. You have a 60-day plan to get people contract ready. What does that mean?
What I like to do is I like to look at the candidates and then examine their SAM.gov profile, and we go through a 25-point checklist. Okay. We also look at their dynamic small business search profile, which is run by the SBA. It's a database that pulls information on small businesses, and it's used by teaming partners. It's used by people in government and by the procurement decision makers, the PDMs, to see how strong they look on paper. If they're looking for a specific skill set within a defined territory or geo and a specific socioeconomic certification, that's where they'll start. They'll first go there, and that will be the initial sniff test. So we take a look at the SAM.gov profile. We also take a look at your capability statement, which is the single most important piece of marketing collateral that you need to have as part of your arsenal.
Agreed.
And we look at your other marketing materials, such as your website. We look at your business cards. We look at how you look on paper and what the first impressions would be when prospective customers would look to engage your firm. And from there, we make an actionable list of items that need to be corrective action plan to help you get back on the right track. And we can do this within the next 60 days so that you look your best before the end of the federal fiscal year to improve your chances of winning and closing a government contract.
Yep. And so your capability statement, is it like 60 pages long?
No, in fact, a couple of very useful tips here. So if you're taking notes, please make sure you write these down. Capability statement should be a single page document. It should be in a PDF format, and it should clearly be labeled your company name capability statement.pdf. The file size should not exceed 1 megabyte, and don't give it any fancy titles such as brochure or presentation. Call it capability statement. Okay, make it an indexable and searchable PDF so that if the contracting officer technical representative or the program manager is looking for a specific skill set and they do a find, Control F, they can find that specific item on their hard drive or on their database. Okay. The other thing is your capability statement should cover the 6 C's. It should have your contact information. It should have your certifications from a socioeconomic certification standpoint. It should have your contracting vehicles. It should also have your core competencies, your capabilities, your past performance should be referenced, and you should have a capabilities narrative that clearly states your value proposition, and that should not be longer than 235 characters, including punctuation. Okay, that's like an elevator pitch of who you are and what you offer. Last but not least, you should always have your contact information, because you should make it easier, very easy for the government to contact you in case they want to talk to you.
Yep. And you have some great examples for those of you that want to do a strategy session. We'll talk about that at length, right?
That's right. That's right.
So do you need to be contract ready? I don't know that I have this. So if you need to be contract ready,
well, they need to be, Dave, in order to be, because they will not be considered unless they are.
That's right, if they don't. So yeah, if you need to be, just let us know, and we'll make sure we schedule that to be part of that piece. Let's talk about you, Greg, about your folks and what you do to help people be ready for that last, because you're going to have a whole bunch of stuff coming in the next 90 days, right?
Exactly.
So what do you do?
Well, I get calls from every day from people who want to do business with the government, do more business with the government, and we agree, we talk about what we do, what they do, and at the end of the conversation, if we agree that we think we can do some work together and have some success together, and they say, okay, what do we do before we find our first opportunity? Compile your past performance.
Absolutely.
Get that all together, and I'll let everybody know exactly what they need with regard to each reference and how far back to go, and then put together, like Rafael said, that capability assessment and get everything ready, so that as we're reviewing opportunities that are issued every day, and there are going to be opportunities that could be a fit issued every day, so you have to look every day. We can assess them pretty quickly, and then if it's something we want to do, then we're ready to go. And typically, we want it to be a big proposal with a short turnaround time. That sounds like the opposite of what you would expect me to say, but the more difficult it is, the less competition you're going to have. It's going to scare off a lot of people to say, I don't want to do that, and then that's great, because we can do what other people can't. So hopefully it's going to be a very monumental challenge, because you're going to be competing against few people.
You take their capabilities, you look at what they're asking for in the RFP, right? And you say, hey, do we meet all these? And you can get to go, no go pretty quick then, right?
I tell them to read the statement of work, and I'll read L and M. And by the time they're done making sure that they understand everything that the agency needs to be performed in the contract, by that time I'll have an overview of the submittal requirements and the evaluation criteria, outlining everything that they have to submit, all the minimum mandatory past performance requirements, lay that in front of them and say, can you provide all of this? Do you meet all of these minimum mandatory requirements? They already know they can do the job. If they can do this, then we may decide to move forward, but we're going to look at the history of the contract. Who's doing it? What are they getting paid? Have they won the last 5 go-throughs of this contract dating back to 92? Then let's move on to something else, Right. But if everything looks good, from performance requirements, submittal requirements, evaluation criteria, contract history, and everything else we can learn, then we'll get about the business of submitting the proposal, which means the next day they get a needs list from us of everything that we need from them, all the content about whatever the agency requires them to submit, and that's where we kick it off.
And you do a great job at that, and I love the fact that you're looking for the quick turnaround. Because that is going to minimize the competition greatly.
Absolutely.
Greatly. So let me know how many you expect to submit if you're going to submit these. Less than 5 bids this September, 5 to 10 bids, 10 to 20 bids, or more than 20 bids. Now this could be GSA e-buy, it could be a combination of larger contracts like you're talking about with Greg. So let us know where you are, and we'll make sure you get what you need. And then we're going to get to some questions. So if you have questions or want to know something in particular for your company, we'll get there in just a minute. Excuse me. So another 5, 4, 3, 2, and good. So there you go. Third all the way across the board. don't know who's answering these questions that way, but it's okay. So questions. Any questions? Will this presentation be made available? It will be. It is being recorded, so you can watch it over and over again, if that's what you mean. And you can certainly do that. And having trouble with the downloads. Let's see. There's 4 handouts. If you go on the right-hand side, there's 4 handouts. There's a budget. There's going for gold. There's winnable opportunity matrix and ISI federal capabilities. Those are the handouts that are down there for today. Everybody get to see those? All right. Any other questions before we go for anybody? All right then.
Hey, Dave.
We got 2. What's that?
Very, very important that they realize that they're going to be reaching out to federal buyers. They need to have a strong capability statement. If they don't have one, they should be calling us for a free consultation. Okay.
Yep. So $222 billion in the next 84 days, and you're 9.5 months behind just to make you feel good. So the objective in the next 60 days is to get to the decision makers before the fiscal year ends, because they have to spend every dime. Right, Jamie Zell?
You betcha. Every last one, blow out their budget so they can turn around and ask for more the following year. And not only that, we just started the last quarter, if you will, and things are going to get real crazy in September. But the people out there, and I know we have a lot of people who already have experience with the federal government. You got July. That's a good working month to be out there and forging those relationships still, because things don't really start to turn on the back wheel, as you mentioned, Dave, till you get to mid to late August, and then September is just nuts. But there's still some time to work on development. That's really important.
You cannot get to people after August 15th, really. August 15th, but right now we're doing introductory campaigns throughout the rest of the year. We still have briefings. We have a ton of briefings. Adam knows. He's on here. We have a ton of briefings coming up over the next 30 days. But after that, the only way you can really do it is getting to the decision makers directly with introductory campaigns and your capability sense. And you got to have a decent capability to send it, right, Raphael?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
it's
with that,
resume.
With that, we're going to let you guys go. Kyle is here, but I can't unmute her for some reason. I'm not exactly sure why. But if you need funding, reach out to Kyle. Because she can help both from startup all the way through the larger pieces. If you have contracts and you need funding, you can reach out to Peter Timbus at TFN Action Capital. They are very good at doing contract, especially working with 8As. If you're an 8A, they work with those. Jamie Zell, here's your contact information, and they can reach you just about anytime, right?
Absolutely. Reach out and give me a call. And in fact, we work across multiple time zones, and I've actually gotten clients on board that are outside the United States. So we're an international GSA schedule provider, and we're very proud of that. But definitely feel free to reach out. There's my number right there. Very much a telephone person. Reach out, give me a call. Be happy to help answer any questions you have and talk about strategically moving forward in the world of GSA.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And Greg Clark, the mystery man that's on the phone all the time.
Absolutely. Just a quick story. The first company we ever worked with, when 3 of us formed the company in '95, and we're just calling people and offering our services, and the first one that said, yeah, we're still working with them. We have 2 proposals that we're doing for them now. We've won 26 federal contracts in 9 states. They're all 5-year contracts. Total value is $92 million, so it's a little more than 1 win a year on average. And just a little company that works hard and performs successfully and profitably, and is very responsive when we need stuff. So that's the kind of, we want to have 100 more of those.
That's exactly right. That's what we're after. And that's a great story. Love the stories. You know me, I love the stories more than anything, right, Raphael?
Absolutely.
So tell me a story as you close.
Well, we are simply put, we're the best at what we do. Our core competency is we help companies get procurement contract ready, and we do this with socioeconomic certifications. We have a 100% track record with 8A hub zones, service disabled, DOT, MBE, and DBE. In addition to that, we prepare bar none the best marketing materials for the federal government so that you can go to battle and have the best arsenal at your disposal. So give us a call if you have any questions.
Yep. He does a great job. Thanks for joining us, Rafael, with your sexy blue glasses. So we have the interagency briefings. You heard about GovBrief earlier. We have a bunch of those for both industry as well as pushing the message out there. We have a lot in the next month that we're pushing out to the market. Today we have charter logistics. Tomorrow we have FSS iOS 4, construction management coming a little bit later, facilities management, medical labs, energy savings, contract vehicles. We do that on a regular basis. BAA compliance, if you manufacture, that's an important thing these days. In construction management, it is awesome. Again, to have you guys here today. If you want to learn more about ISI Federal, you can go to isifederal.com. We've talked a little bit about the intelligence and the marketing components, but also representation and bid management. We don't do the bid prep like Greg does, because you would fire me if you're asking me to do the paperwork, right, Greg?
Don't fire Dave. Just call me.
That's right. Don't fire me.
And by the way, I may have a success story next month, because somebody in your audience has already emailed me about that contract I referenced.
Oh, very cool. Very, very cool. Awesome. So if you do have a GSA schedule, QuickFuse, QUIK, no C in there, QUIK, and I said earlier, and it is free for 30 days, but you have to do it before 7/15. And if you keep it for a year, we promise that you will make 5 times what you spend on QuickFuse. You will get back in return, or it will be free. ISI Federal on YouTube, if you do ISI Federal anywhere, you cannot miss us. We're all over the place on YouTube, LinkedIn. And our next session is August 13th at 11 a.m. at Eastern Daylight Time. This EDT, EST, all stuff drives me nuts. But nonetheless, we will be here then. And we want to thank you for joining us. I'm Dave Lowe. You can reach out. Here's my email address as well as my phone number. Thank you for joining us. Jamie, as always, thank you. Great to see you. Raphael, thank you. Great to see you. And you and I have to catch up, Raphael. Watch this. Raphael, lift up your left hand. Give me a high five. Turn it sideways.
Virtual high five.
We can do it too, Jamie. We can do it this way, right? Ready? So, a little further. Bam. Oh, man. You can tell I'm on oxycodone, can't you? Ah! Thanks,
Stay away from the peanut brittle.
Right?
I haven't had the munchies. That's right. The problem is I can't even do the munchies because my face hurts so bad.
Yeah,
All right. Thanks much, guys. See you later.